Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to proudly say that not just me, but we have officially solved the Charlie Kirk case. I'm about to show you something that is going to change everything. And I just want to say this before I play this. I like that. Say this before I play this. That from day one, since I didn't know Charlie Kirk, I had to just go off of, all the videos that I watched. But one of the things that kept sticking out to me being somebody that was in the relationship space, was that if a man that surrounded himself with all of these evil, terrible, disgusting people, whether it's Tyler Boyer, whether it's Erika Kirk, whether it's Rod McCoy, whether it's Frank Turek, how in the world can we not look at the most common denominator, which was Charlie Kirk? So we made hundreds of videos, all, people just all over on YouTube about Erika Kirk, Tyler Boyer, all these different people, but I didn't see anybody hold Charlie Kirk himself to the flame, except for me. And I might be wrong. So if somebody else did, shout out to them. But there is a young lady, and I want to shout her out because she's the one who reshared this information. She just did a video about this, and it apparently went viral on X, but I never seen it. So I'm going to play this video, and then we're going to go from there. So shout out to this woman. Her name is Daily Fredo. And I messaged her. So hopefully she got the message, because I would love to either have her on this live stream or another live stream after this. So shout out to Daily Fredo. Shout out to her. She is amazing in her coverage. But she shared something that I said, and I needed this one piece of evidence to prove my theory that Charlie Kirk died on purpose to avoid litigation and prison.
Charlie Kirk said it himself. If Trump didn't win the election, Charlie was at risk of going to federal prison. That's why he cried on election day. Those were tears of relief. Those were tears that screamed, yes, I'm not going to jail. But why was he so relieved? Why was he so sure he would end up in prison if he didn't have Trump in the office?
Do you know why I cried on election night?
Because you thought it was a restoration of the Judeo-Christian values that are inherent to the Constitution.
Let me tell you why, because I think you might appreciate this as a historian. Joe Biden sent the entire federal government after Turning Point USA and me personally. They wanted me in federal prison. They wanted me in federal prison. They wanted me in federal prison.
Right there. So my background, just recent background, is one in the relationship space, right? And, I would hear women, because I would mainly coach women. I would coach men and women, but mainly women. And women would come to me and say, my baby daddy or my ex-husband or whatever, mainly, just single motherhood, whereas baby daddy stuff, baby mama stuff, right? And a guy would come to me and say, my baby mama is this and that. Or a woman would say, my baby daddy did this and did that, right? And whoever it was I was talking to, whether male and female, I would first say, okay, why did you pick that person? Why did you choose to, have that particular person in your life? Because in my world, I look at the person that brought these people into your life, and I'm like, you did this to yourself, right? And then I got into the space of talking about Diddy, because Diddy is a huge part of my childhood. And people would start talking about Cassie, like, oh my God, Cassie is a victim of Diddy. And I'm like, just from, everything that I've learned from the relationship space and just psychology and biology, Cassie chose to be with Diddy. So how is Diddy the only terrible person? Cassie had something to do with that also, right? And I went down the rabbit hole, and then we get to Charlie Kirk, and everything we've heard about Charlie Kirk was, oh my God, his wife, the woman that he chose to marry, got him unalived. His security team that he hired and was working with for, I believe, 5 to maybe 7 years, got him unalived. And everything that I seen was poor Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is a victim. Why did they do this to Charlie Kirk? And then after Charlie Kirk passed away, we started realizing that literally every single piece of Turning Point USA was terrible. And then we started looking into the child, tadpole traffic light stuff. And then I'm like, yo, this whole case to a certain degree is just like the Diddy case. And for those who don't know, and this is my point right here, Diddy is in prison for what? Trafficking. So I'm like, yo, why is nobody talking about Charlie Kirk in this situation? Ron McCoy is terrible. Frank Turek is terrible. Tyler Boyd is terrible. But not Charlie Kirk? So Charlie Kirk is an angel, but everybody else is terrible? How is this? So once I started doing my research, there was a rumor, because I didn't see the video. I'm about to show you the video. But there was a rumor that said Charlie Kirk was afraid that he was about to go to prison. The same exact thing Diddy was involved with, which was, remember, they stormed his house and raided his house. There was I'm the person that broke the story that there was tunnels under Diddy's house in LA. And then in his mansion in Miami, he was right across the pond, or whatever you want to call it, from the docks, where, for those who don't know much about childhood trafficking, that is how they get the person to the other country, through shipping containers. So I broke that story. That video got 1 million views about the tunnels. Just look it up, Diddy tunnels, and you'll see me. Everything about Charlie Kirk, everything about Turning Point USA was telling me Charlie Kirk was Diddy. He was just a white Diddy. But everybody wanted to talk about other things other than Charlie Kirk. No, it couldn't be Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was busy. Charlie Kirk was over here. Charlie Kirk was helping Donald Trump become elected. Charlie Kirk was this. Charlie Kirk is a victim. And I'm like, no, he wasn't a victim. So I did video after video after video about how Charlie Kirk was not a victim. And people started unfollowing me. People started unsubscribing. People started looking at me like I was crazy. How dare you say this about Charlie Kirk? But I'm like, yo, if you look like a duck, quack like a duck, walk like a duck, you're a duck. So how in the world can we ignore all of this stuff when Charlie Kirk is the CEO of Turning Point USA? So let's get back to this video, because I'm about to show you. Charlie Kirk said it himself. He was afraid of going to prison. I'm playing it again, and then we won't move on.
In prison if he didn't have Trump in the office.
Do you know why I cried on election night?
Because you thought it was a restoration of the Judeo-Christian values that are inherent to the Constitution.
Let me tell you why, because I think you might appreciate this as a historian. Joe Biden sent the entire federal government after Turning Point USA and me personally. They wanted me in federal prison. They wanted me in federal prison. They wanted me in federal prison. And by the way, that's what despots do, not
Sure.
Donald Trump. Let me finish. And so when Donald Trump won, it was a sigh of relief that maybe I won't have to go to federal prison.
Sure.
Maybe I can actually be around my kids. And maybe we can live in a free society.
Guys, they just called it. They just called it for Pennsylvania, Charlie. It has been called.
just called.
Just reporting it. Let's go, baby.
Charlie,
We got
what is
Trump
the
back in
number?
The White House.
What is the number?
Is that it?
Happened. Remember where you were when you realized
You weren't going to prison.
that the Uniparty and all of these, just party and all.
To prison. Hold on.
Remember where you were when you realized
You weren't going to prison.
that the Uniparty and all of these, just the establishment.
Just like everyone started dancing.
Just in case we won Pennsylvania, I said I wouldn't even talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen,
Charlie Kirk is officially not going to prison.
we've got tasty cakes.
He is tearing up. He's genuinely relieved. Erika comes in to hug him. He's crying, she's crying. We all thought at first that this was all because he worked so hard. He campaigned for Trump harder than anyone. And we thought he was just happy that all this work didn't go to waste. But now that we know, in his words, he was relieved he didn't have to go to federal prison, it looks very different. Because this reaction tells me that he genuinely thought he would be locked up, that he will not see his family. But why was he so sure that he would end up in prison? That was the question that was bothering me all this time. Obviously, we are not siding with Joe Biden here. However, would this huge sigh of relief by Charlie when Trump was elected mean that he did have something to hide? That Turning Point USA did cross some lines that could land the founder and other people involved in federal prison had they been investigated? Take a look at this clip and what Josh Hawley had to say.
Why do you think Biden's FBI was really investigating Charlie Kirk?
Try to intimidate him. It's interesting, Jesse, when I heard that today from Chairman Grassley.
You see that? Do you see that? Why was the FBI investigating Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA? Just to intimidate him? No! For trafficking! Do you see that? And then this is what's crazy. The FBI was investigating Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA, but the second Donald Trump went into office, they didn't even want to investigate his murder. Think about that. They're so lackadaisical about anything involving Charlie Kirk's murder. But before that, remember, Kash Patel just got that job. Kash Patel got that job right around when Trump got elected. A lot of things changed when Trump got elected. The FBI changed when Trump got elected. Charlie Kirk was about to get the same treatment that Diddy did. Charlie Kirk was a white Diddy. So everything you said about Diddy or think about Diddy and heard about Diddy, Charlie Kirk was freaking doing, allegedly. But because he's dead, it all went away. It all went away because he's dead. Or, some of y'all, some of us, me included, he may not be, but I don't want to say that. So I just want to say for the record, for YouTube, Charlie Kirk died on September 10th, 2025. All right. I just want to say that for YouTube. But shout out to Daily Fredo for sharing that video that has been out for the longest. I just couldn't find it. So she found the missing piece to our investigation. So I would like to go farther down the rabbit hole, but take a second to celebrate this milestone, because we still have a long way to go, because these people still aren't in jail. We got Diddy in prison. I can't turn around and say I got Diddy in prison, but my efforts and a lot of other people's efforts, when everybody was covering the Diddy case and, sharing all the different things, we did a good job at getting to the jury. See, a lot of you may not know the power of YouTube. It was probably like 30 different people talking about the Diddy case. And we were literally just exposing this, exposing that, sharing this, sharing that. And once the actual Diddy trial happened, they started putting together a jury. We already tainted the jury. We already set the narrative for any jury pool because everybody is on YouTube. Everybody is on Instagram. Everybody is on TikTok. So before they put together the jury, the jury already seen our videos. The jury already knew what was going on. So once the evidence came out that they already knew because we were sharing all the evidence, Diddy went to prison. And that's the power of us. That's the power of YouTube. See, the news, CNN, all those people, they're paid by the government to set a narrative. We're paid by y'all to investigate. And y'all are all over the place. Y'all are, pro-Trump, pro this, pro that, different people, different religions, different races, different ages, different genders. So we see what y'all are looking for. We see what y'all are saying. And then we build a platform and say, hey, this is what I think. And then we attract our own people. So you got this person saying this, that person saying this. You got Barron, you got Alley Top Files, you got Daily Fredo, you got Danks, you got all these different people. Ian, you got Candace. And then we start seeing, hey, we have enough power to set our own narrative. Sabby Sabs. Oh, I got her video down here also. So let me show y'all what Sabby Sab said. So somebody brought up Sabby Sabs. I'm glad y'all brought her up. She's on here too.
These dates when this form was submitted,
because we all did
time. So we are continuing to talk about this guy.
Hold on a second. So let me back this up a little bit. Let's see what Sabby Sab says. Shout out to her.
They sent this to me and they wanted to get my opinion about it because they knew that I've worked at universities for quite some time and a part of my position.
So think about this. She worked at universities, so she's very good at this information right here. So listen to this. Shout out to Sabby Sabs.
They sent this to me and they wanted to get my opinion about it because they knew that I've worked at universities for quite some time. And a part of my position as an academic advisor also included planning events. Well, it appears that now the event form that was submitted for Utah Valley University has now been released. The local news station shared this information. And I just want to walk you through some of these alarming details here. And also what is important about these dates, when this form was submitted and what else was happening at that point in time. So we are continuing to talk about this, guys, because I really do believe, and I've said this before, Kash Patel, the FBI, they're covering up something. As I said before, I do not understand why the FBI is involved in this case to begin with anyway. We went through the list of requirements for the FBI to intervene in said case, and it's not checking off the boxes for me. The application for this event, for this rally that Charlie Kirk spoke at before he was killed, was submitted in mid-July. Now hold on to that date for just a second, that date range, because there was something else that happened mid-July. So is it standard to submit these applications for college events? Absolutely. Even if you are an internal organization, a campus organization, you still have to complete a form about your event. Now, usually on these forms, it will ask you a couple of questions. How many people are expected to attend the event? That's a big one. And also whether or not you will provide, or you need it provided, security detail, if you need security. Now, we'll go ahead and say this. Typically with college events that are over a certain amount of people, sometimes 50, sometimes 100, that is required that you have security detail. It is also interesting to me that, considering the fact that Charlie Kirk was a public figure, I feel like that should have been implied anyway. For example, when Ben Shapiro came to Boston University, when I was still at BU, when I was still working there, when he came to Boston University, there was security provided. So
So right there, security was provided for Ben Shapiro, but security was not provided for Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk is way bigger than Ben Shapiro. Well, all of this is because they didn't need, they needed their own people, not outside security. What's going on, Danks?
What up, big dog? Thanks for having me. How are you?
All right, man. I appreciate you for coming. So I want to play this right here because, and before I play this, Danks, did you see anybody else on YouTube or even X? Not somebody that hated Charlie Kirk, but somebody that was objective. Did you see anybody holding Charlie Kirk accountable and saying, yo, like Charlie Kirk did this? Because I don't know. I haven't seen anybody.
Not in public. I think that most people are very apprehensive, but I do know multiple people that are saying, hey, like what you said earlier, I was watching, you're like, hey, YouTube, just so you know, he's dead. Well, the counter narrative is becoming more and more viable. And just
but was anybody saying that Charlie Kirk was a co-conspirator to all of this debauchery, though? That part.
I've said it myself. I said it could be, but I haven't seen it. It doesn't ring a bell. It doesn't mean it hasn't
nobody else said anything. Right. So I started getting all kinds of people getting mad at me when I did this right here.
Yeah. Charlie Kirk saying, it's not supposed to say, I will build my church. It's supposed to be government structure. Wait a minute. Jesus said he's coming to build a government structure. So a government with tanks and bombs and guns can convert the world to force them to believe. That goes against the concept of the gospel. Yes.
And this is Pastor Fannin from his YouTube channel is Law of Liberty. So he came out with a video. I ran across his video and I invited him on. And I was just like, yo, what is up with Charlie Kirk? Nobody wants to say anything about Charlie Kirk. It's always Erika Kirk is this, Erika Kirk is that. Turning Point USA is this, Turning Point USA is that. But he's the CEO of Turning Point USA. Why is nobody talking about Charlie Kirk? And then, I think it's, go ahead.
You got to think about it like this, right? You can't just stay one-sided.
Right.
The whole entire company was built underneath him, right? So whether he knew about the entire thing, maybe not, but you can't claim ignorance to all of the stuff happening. Because I'll tell you what, I was really surprised and disappointed when Charlie Kirk was the one. I hate to go in this direction and start to, but Charlie Kirk was like, they started the tracking professors thing, right? And yeah, obviously we shouldn't have like professors doing certain things, but you're literally putting people on a targeting list. And Charlie Kirk was like, check this out. And he posted it. So there are things that he's done, right, that we're not all going to agree with. So that being said, we can't, like, these are not the greatest things, right? It's not a good look, right? It's just like what we've seen the government do or other countries like the IHOP thing. What they're doing is, making a list of all the people they deem against their cause. And so if we're against other people's cause, you're going to make a website with a list. There's like a lot of little examples that could shape up to say, hey, like, maybe he's not exactly who everyone wants him to be, And that's something we have to be open to. And also all of this stuff, like if we were going to go the counter narrative where, God rest his soul, say that he, whatever isn't resting, right? Perhaps it was a planned situation and he might be a mastermind, right? I mean, or he had to sacrifice, like there's so many things that I want to say. I know, I don't want to say too much here with you on, and I know that it can be sensitive at your size as well. YouTube's already giving you some timeouts, right? But like you're saying, man, like we have to be open to everything, because if not, we could be literally missing what's right in front of our face. And that comes to what I was what we talked about yesterday, Project Constitution and I, for our live stream, breaking open the entire picture. Finally, what I think we've been able to do with a tip, we've gone and deep dived and really was able to put together the full picture. And I don't know if you want me to go into that now. It's a little bit separate from what you're discussing. We can do it in a minute if you want, but there's a bigger story here, and we have to understand that the story might not be exactly what we want. Yes. But ultimately, think about it. If you're wanting to be in every he literally, Mikey McCoy's even said, we are going to be in every high school in the United States, every college in the United States, Superfeed, Tyler Boyer, Lori Franzvi, and finally, we've been able to see the whole picture as it was. So, you know, I know my live stream is 4 hours long. I'm not asking people to watch the whole thing, but I'm going to make some videos, Project Constitution and I as well, and we're going to make shorter ones and I'll clip it up. But I do have some summaries that I can explain what I think is actually going on here. And it includes everybody.
Yeah. So all of this Charlie Kirk's doing, not Erika Kirk's doing. Erika Kirk has recently been CEO of Turning Point USA. Now, Erika Kirk has a huge hand in this because of Lori Franzvi, her mother, but everything is just all about Erika Kirk and everybody surrounded by Charlie Kirk, but not the common denominator, which is Charlie Kirk. So it's like, at the end of the day, I can understand why nobody wants to say anything about Charlie Kirk. Do you know about? Do you want to talk about the elephant in the room?
Go ahead. What do you?
What do you think the elephant in the room is, on why nobody wants to say anything bad about Charlie Kirk?
Well, I mean,
just say it.
I mean, it goes against. It makes him look bad. You know what I mean? It makes him look like.
But what's the elephant? What's the elephant in the room?
I mean, you tell me. I don't know if
Candace.
I'm gonna.
Oh. Candace. You know, I love Candace. You know, I'm on Candace's side. You know, everybody in the chat right now say we stand for Candace. Everybody in the chat say we stand for Candace. I stand for Candace. I love what Candace is doing.
So explain more.
Erika Kirk, Charlie Kirk is Candace's best friend. So when Candace got online and started saying, I need to find out what happened to my best friend. My best friend this, my best friend that. Me and Charlie Kirk this. Picture of, video of her and Charlie Kirk dancing, her and Charlie Kirk being in the car singing, her and Charlie Kirk going fishing, her and Charlie Kirk doing here and being there, right? How dare anybody open their mouths and say anything bad about Candace's best friend? So it's almost like if you say something bad about Charlie Kirk, you're saying something bad about Candace, and that is not what this is about. We can't, like you said earlier, we can't. If you want to investigate on what happened to Charlie Kirk, you can't ignore the elephant in the room. Charlie Kirk may have orchestrated this whole thing, and even though Charlie Kirk at this particular point looks like a victim of somebody else, but what about the 10 years of what Charlie Kirk was doing with Turning Point USA? So let me play this real quick. This was before Charlie Kirk died.
A theory. It's a first pulls back the curtain on the single.
Hold on, one more time, because it's messing up.
What you're about to hear isn't a theory. It's a first-hand, under oath testimony that pulls back the curtain on the single most corrupt political machine we've ever seen in our lifetimes. And it explains a lot of what's happening right now. Part 1, the January 6th blueprint. It was always Turning Point. Manhattan Madam is a political publicist with 16 years experience inside the conservative movement. She sat before the January 6th committee and told a story that should have been front page news for weeks. She didn't plead the fifth, she laid it all out. And here's the core of her testimony, and man, is it explosive. First, the lie. We were told January 6th was a grassroots, organic movement of patriots. That was a lie. It was a professionally planned and lavishly funded operation. The orchestrator, the main funder and organizer, according to her sworn testimony, was Turning Point USA. This is the group that masquerades as campus activism for freedom and limited government. They are, in fact, the architects of an attempted coup, which brings me to the price tag. She was directly told that January 6th cost $650,000. Of that, $450,000 came directly from Turning Point, which was used for the leverage. That money wasn't for...
So right there, I had a lot of people say, where's your proof? Who is this woman? What happened? Who is this? This is some TikToker. So I said, you know what? You're right. Maybe she's just making stuff up. So I reached out to the Manhattan Madam, and as I started finding different things, I didn't get her, but I got her.
For the January 6th committee. I'm one of the few people that didn't plead the fifth. The organization behind the event. Most of you don't know that Turning Point was one of the main funders and the main organizers behind January 6th. In fact, they were the ones who asked and got the president onto the stage. Most of what I'm going.
So then I'm like, Charlie Kirk, before he died, orchestrated and funded and was the main funding agent of January 6th. And I'm like, yo, this Charlie Kirk dude is the problem and not Erika Kirk. Why? You know, but it goes back to Candace. So I just want to ask a question. If Candace is Charlie Kirk's best friend, and Candace was touring with Charlie Kirk, and we all was assuming that Charlie Kirk had no idea what Turning Point USA was doing. Do you think Candace had no idea what Turning Point USA was doing either? Because that's a possibility. Because if people can actually ponder in their mind and say Charlie Kirk had no idea what his own company was doing, it's a possibility that Candace had no idea what Charlie Kirk was doing. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, Candace, first of all, let's say she's been doing incredible work, right? We all love Candace.
We love Candace.
She's exposed a lot. She's brought out more evidence than the FBI, at least from what we can see, right? What's interesting about Candace's entire framework is that it really rests, at least how she's conveying to us and what she's giving us, is that it rests on the fact that Charlie is innocent.
Yes.
That's the framework of the whole entire thing, right? So the last 5-6 months, Charlie Kirk's innocent, a man who got in too deep, tried to pull back, and was taken out. The thing is, and also what's interesting is everybody believes it. Everyone will take her side, and her audience has become, people have made livings off of Candace. I've had like just the whole conversation of TPUSA and the goodness behind Charlie Kirk is being driven. That narrative is strengthened every single day when Candace goes live. But now starting to say, if you're questioning, what if Charlie wasn't the victim of this machine? What if Charlie was the machine? Right?
Yeah.
Then Charlie Kirk didn't stumble into a corrupt organization. Perhaps
he was a corrupt organization.
That's what you're saying, right? That's what you're thinking possibly could be. And I've started to hear that. It's so interesting that not everyone, but there are multiple people that I've talked to recently, the last 24, 48 hours, are coming to this solution, right? What if Charlie and Erika built this together, or the variety of the top tier people? What if the life insurance structure I was Like that's always bothered me, is the life insurance structure, because he has to know about, it's his company, it's his life insurance policy. That the Hidden Secret LLC in Wyoming, the Franz V patents I showed yesterday on my show, her patents, the Superfeed board seats, all of that was family business. What if Charlie's concerns about South Korea weren't about corruption that he discovered? What if they were about a deal that maybe went sideways with the wrong people? It opens up this whole other can of worms.
So let's talk about Korea. Shout out to Candace, because like you said, she uncovered more information than anybody did. Well, Candace was talking about South Korea and how there's a military installation over there that is, catching fire for, blanking women and tadpoles in South Korea. And then I turned around and seen how Charlie Kirk went to South Korea before he died. And then when he died, here comes Rob McCoy bragging about going to South Korea. And I'm like, what is this South Korea stuff? Because Candace brought that up. And then I started seeing South Korea this, South Korea that. So when you bring up South Korea, this is kind of like what I'm saying. Charlie Kirk was in South Korea doing something before all these other people. So all of these allegations, sexual misconduct allegations in particular, have something to do with what Charlie Kirk has been hiding. And then even with Tyler Boyer had a lot of sexual misconduct allegations, and he was about to go to prison, just like Charlie Kirk was about to go to prison. And for those of you who just coming in, we have proof that Charlie Kirk was about to go to prison. The FBI was investigating Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA, just like we are. But Charlie Kirk got Trump elected, and the second Trump got elected, everything went away. The same thing went on with Tyler Boyer. Tyler Boyer was about to go to prison, and Charlie Kirk went to the same person, Donald Trump, and got Tyler Boyer pardoned. And all of a sudden, Tyler Boyer went from broke and it was about to go to prison to a rich man instantly. So let me play this, and let me play this commercial. So I'm going to show y'all, I'm going to play this first because it's so much.
If Trump didn't, they're a prison. That's why he cried on election day.
So I'm playing this for the people who are just coming in.
Charlie Kirk said it himself. If Trump didn't win the election, Charlie was at risk of going to federal prison. That's why he cried on election day. Those were tears of relief. Those were tears that screamed, yes, I'm not going to jail. But why was he so relieved? Why was he so sure he would end up in prison if he didn't have Trump in the office?
Do you know why I cried on election night?
Because you thought it was a restoration of the Judeo-Christian values that are inherent to the country, the Constitution.
Let me tell you why, because I think you might appreciate this as a historian. Joe Biden sent the entire federal government after Turning Point USA and me personally. They wanted me in federal prison. They wanted me in federal prison. They wanted me in federal prison. And by the way, that's what despots do, not Donald Trump. Let me finish. And so when Donald Trump won, it was a sigh of relief that maybe I won't have to go to federal prison.
So go ahead, Danks.
I think that what is your assumption on why I want to see what you think. Why do you think that he says that? Has anyone said why? Or are they just saying that this is what he said?
Why
he was going to be investigated? Why is it they want to put him in prison? Do you know why?
I don't exactly know, because that's another question that we probably will never know, or we're not going to have the full story on, because the Biden administration no longer has any power. But it may be something out there that could show exactly why. But the first thing that comes to my mind is everything that has something to do with tadpole traffic lights. See, my theory, and it was a theory then, and it's still a theory now, because like I said, this is just a milestone. We're not done at all. But what this is, all of this is simple confirmation that we're going in the right direction. So my assumption, and I may be wrong, is that the Biden administration seeing exactly what we were seeing with Tyler Boyer, because remember, Tyler Boyer was the COO of Turning Point USA. He is now the CEO of Turning Point Action, but he was the COO of Turning Point USA. He is the main person, according to what I read, who hired all of these other people at Turning Point USA. He was the one allegedly who introduced Charlie to Erika Kirk. So Tyler Boyer, who's the most tenured executive of Turning Point USA, other than Charlie Kirk himself, had a lot of sexual misconduct allegations, many of them going back to 2014. And it's like, how in the world can the most tenured executive, assumably best friend of Charlie Kirk, have all of these sexual allegations and not know anything about it? And then we turn around and get an understanding that Tyler Boyer was about to go to prison. And then the second Trump came into office, he got pardoned. So that means Charlie Kirk was fully aware of all the things Tyler Boyer was involved in. And how in the world can his best buddy be involved in all of this strange sexual stuff? And then also Trump being involved in all of these sexual allegations that are coming out in these Epstein files. And Charlie Kirk has no idea. So go ahead.
I know why.
Okay.
Why? I know why. So
okay.
At least I think I know why.
Okay.
And it's a little more boring than what you have said, although you raise points that maybe aren't in what I'm going to say here.
Okay.
First, before, since you did mention the tadpoles, wasn't there some sort of allegation against Charlie himself on something like this from internal?
Yes.
Have you heard of this? Okay, there was. All right, so that might be a part of it. Now, what I can state for certain is that if the feds are going to indict somebody, and they're going to have a very accurate and true reasoning to put someone in prison. Or if it's racketeering or a whole situation.
Especially
think about
if the feds are on it in particular.
Think about everything on my channel in the last 6 weeks, right? I have literally shown all the reasons why any administration would want to put them in prison. It's because as a 501c3, you are not allowed at all, pro or negative. You can't talk positive. You can't talk negative about any political opponent or anybody that you want to be in office. So the whole organization has been built around Trump. They've said it how many times over and over again. Not just that, the finances of raising money, taking commissions as people that are like Stacey Sheridan, in my opinion. And what I've seen on paper is she owns companies, 3 that are taking commission off of the investments or the donations. There are so many things from literally saying we're going to get JD Vance elected and he's going to be in office, saying it at America Fest with all the Turning Point USA, because there's Turning Point Action and then there's Turning Point USA. There are 2 different C's, right? 501c3 is Turning Point USA. 501c4 is Turning Point Action. When it comes to Turning Point Action, you can, with the 501c4, give up to 50% of your time or your mission to actually influencing an election through whatever, however they want to do it. But it is illegal and it's against IRS tax codes to endorse any political or not endorse any political figure on either side. Also with the finances, right? So that is, I've shown over $20-30 million with all of these people from Hoffman and Boyer, and there is much deeper, which we can talk about later. But when it comes to this surface level, That is what I believe is the reason, because of the fact that they've full on endorsed without apologetics, without apology, I guess, political figures, and it's against the law. Like, you just can't do that. It's just that it was never designed that way. So they have an airtight case. If they get back in office, they will do it. They will do it, right? They will go after Turning Point, and Turning Point will go down. Mark my words. I can promise you that. In 4 years, 8 years, 3 years, whatever, if that happens and the Dems are back in power, they will take Turning Point down. So whether they do it themselves, Turning Point just deconstructs completely, they'd be better off actually, like, getting, in my opinion, getting out while they're ahead. I see them as ahead right now. But even then, they can still be prosecuted under the law for things that they've done. I don't know what the timeline is, but you know how long they could prosecute this for. But they're not going to get prosecuted with Trump's administration, not the group that got them elected. Everybody knows that Turning Point USA helped, if not got, Trump elected. They got those votes. They've said it, right? And like, even celebrating to the point when he got elected, it's like every single step along the way, they have broken that law. And that's what I believe.
Stop right there. Stop right there. I want to play this. I'm glad you saying something about the celebration, and then I'm going to get back to you. I just want to show the celebration.
On election day, you already got your gift.
Hold on, here we go.
That they came up with Tyler Boyer.
So this right here, shout out to Allie Top Files. I don't know where she at. I wanted her to come on.
On election day, you already got your gift. The game plan that they came up with Tyler Boyer, it's like Moneyball. It was brilliant what they did. No one even saw it coming. It's like Moneyball. It was brilliant what they did. No one even saw it coming. And they picked up this strategy and they implemented it.
So go ahead. I just wanted to just play that as an example of the celebration.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, again, it's an educational organization. You know what I mean? In exchange for paying zero federal income taxes and letting donors deduct their contributions, you have to agree to absolutely it's an absolute rule. Zero political campaign activity. Not a little bit, not some. It's absolutely zero. It's an absolute. So the IRS is explicit under the IRS code, like, you know, I've said before. Organizations, and I'm quoting the statute here, I think it's exactly like this. So absolutely prohibited from directly or indirectly participating in or intervening in any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition to any candidate for public office. It's not guidance, it's actually law. And then 501c4 is a social welfare organization that can do some political activity, but it cannot be the primary purpose. The IRS literally says political campaign activity must not be its primary activity. It has to be at least secondary, if not further off, to their social welfare mission. But when it comes to the primary educational TPUSA, it's completely forbidden. And TPUSA raised hundreds of millions of dollars in tax deductible donations, and every dollar of that came with that legal promise. So you're talking about $500 million raised while breaking the law. Do you see?
Yeah. So I have a question.
Yeah.
With all that being said, if we were to just rewind a little bit, if that was the case, because that was the main federal investigation, because I think it's documented and we all have seen it, right? Unravel. And the reason why there's not a problem now is because of Trump. But think about this. Why would they fear going to prison if they don't get Trump elected, if they did not help Trump get elected? So this is what I'm saying. If they would have never tried to get Trump elected, would there still be a federal investigation? And if there wouldn't be a federal investigation, why try to get Trump elected? Because doing what they were doing to get Trump elected is the thing that was causing all of the problems. So why try to get Trump elected if trying to get Trump elected and it fails will get you put in prison?
Because they have, this is where my new findings come into play.
Okay.
This is the last hurrah, right? They have nothing but everything to lose. So you have to get them elected and you have to go all the way in order to implement what Project Constitution and I have come to find. And it's a complete restructuring of Turning Point USA, not about continuing Charlie's legacy. It's about pivoting from culture, media war, or political activism into a high-tech agricultural defense operation with artificial intelligence, digital signature tracking, using religious exemptions and eagle permits, which is like for example, using land that is tax exempt, but also unauthorized to be investigated on those lands. So you could literally test, like a military type of testing if you want, on private farmland where autonomous drone fleets can be tested outside of FAA oversight. So you've got players like, possibly, in my opinion, Eric Schmidt, who is the former CEO of Google. He left Google. He didn't retire. He pivoted and started an AI autonomous drone warfare company. All right. He spent 4 years basically trying to lobby the political atmosphere to allow these drone startups. That's why you've got 10 years in the big beautiful bill of AI, no cap, no limit, no ruling on anything, and they're hiding it behind the guise of China. And then what's interesting is Eric Schmidt, his company was originally called White Stork. They changed the name to Project Eagle. Do you know what TPUSA's company or their initiative is for getting their high school implementations is called? Project Eagle. So it hides, you've got two Project Eagles, and so it muddies the waters. Again, they're so good at this, right? In my opinion, this is what I think. Then you've got Jake Hoffman, all right? He is literally starting all the way back a decade ago using, there's so much to it, okay? You've got, man, I don't even know how to explain it all. It's like you've got this digital online tracking ability, starting with also tracking how teenagers work and do things online. Once you enter their realm, you're being monitored. They're seeing everything that you put out. Okay. From there, data feeds into the superfeed harvesting system for behavioral signatures of millions of teenagers. And then the allegation is that this data architecture could allow drones to identify specific individuals on the ground based on their digital footprint, their facial recognition from these cameras, because like this is a step-by-step implementation. First, you get the chapter into every high school, and then you build this autonomous AI system, and then AI monitoring security inside schools becomes legal somehow. And then Superfeed's already prepared to run into that. If it's Superfeed or another company, maybe it's Project Eagle under Eric Schmidt, maybe it's not, maybe it's somebody else. But then you've got Lori Franzvi, who holds a patent for critical and vulnerability risk assessment systems. This is a defense contractor territory where the technology is designed to identify weak points in organization systems. So she sits on the board of Superfeed. This patent is public record. And what we were thinking is that in order to actually get this to this system, this critical vulnerability AI drone thing, it sounds like a movie. The way to get it done properly is you need to be able to gauge everything. In particular, you need to be able to gauge how people react to things so that you can build your algorithm around the reaction, good and bad. So what Charlie Kirk's death could have been about, or could have been have a part of, is that these AI, because there were drones in the air. We've seen this. There are drones in the air at UVU. I believe that these drones were monitoring the taking out of Charlie and then seeing the reaction of the crowd and then data harvesting that reaction and feeding it into their database. So you've got this entire web with money coming and going, data going and coming. You've got Ukrainian superfeed building out over there, data sifting back and forth, and they're building it off property of the United States somewhere else. Okay. You've got, I mean, already what I've thrown at you, if people are, I've got 400 people here from my side, they probably saw my live stream yesterday, and it's a lot, you know, but these Eagle permits, they keep the ability to produce and build Fort Huachuca level work on whatever lands that the Farnsworth owns. Okay. And I've shown evidence Farnsworth owns lots of property, as well as Hoffman, that I've seen allegedly, that they have this what's called 50 CFR 22 permits, which is federal eagle permit regulations for American bald eagles. It's agricultural land used for wildlife conservation or religious purposes, but you can, and it's exempt as well from normal FAA, which governs like air traffic control, from that oversight. So if you control the land and you have the permits and you have the technology and you have the AI and you have the drones, then imagine what you could do with the data.
Yeah.
So my prediction on Project Constitution, in turn, together, we've assessed that. And not only, you've got the Sky Foundry Act, which is a Senate Bill 2506 that was finalized just this month in January, last month. January, this bill requires the Secretary of Defense to establish testing facilities for small unmanned aircraft systems, and the target is to produce 1 million drones every year. All right, 1 million. The same week that Erika Kirk launched the Make Heaven Crowded tour, the day before that, it was launched. The IRS resumed that group tax-exempt ruling would cover the tour's religious structure. So that's, again, the same week, FAA waiver, and it's the number of the waiver, I have it here, is 107W202-60098. It was issued out of Nashville, allowing drone operations directly over human beings and moving vehicles, coordinating with airborne 101st Lethal Eagle exercises out of Fort Campbell. So these aren't random coincidences. These are coordinated moves that all happened within a certain window of time. And then the money, you've got Scott Bessent. We've seen him sign on the dotted line for that document that was leaked through Paramount Tactical, right? That what was a finance show. So
I remember.
Okay, so what if the insider payments weren't just greed? What if they were financial architecture that multiple entities, contractor shields, related party transaction? What if all of this was something bigger? Think about there's like an $8.6 million transfer to America's Turning Point. You've got Rally Forge payments, 110 LLC payments, Olympic Media payments. These are potentially pipeline funding that could be produced for Scott Bessent at Treasury to issue this letter giving TPUSA the ability to hide behind the fact that they're not going to be audited, gives them full immunity to not only not be audited, but use that as evidence to say, hey, now we can sue you, to sue you and say, we're not being audited. So whoever said that, your ass is grass, right? So they're literally protecting not just the charity. Remember, Turning Point USA is a charity. They're not protecting they're supposed to be. Legally they are, right? But they're breaking the law. That's why they're worried about going to prison. Now, it turns out, and what I think is happening is that they're actually protecting an operation to install an artificial intelligence digital signature harvesting apparatus, and they're using Turning Point USA to do that.
They're using Turning Point USA in order to maneuver with that, because
then they're going around the country, they're hiding it under religious,
middle schools, high schools, and churches.
And they're going to have it in exactly. And then the church thing is interesting because then you can have even more secrecy on taxes and money. So however much money that takes away the public being able to really dive into the funds. Then you've got JD Vance. Dude, Peter Thiel and Eric Schmidt are behind JD Vance. Thiel provided seed capital for Vance's Naria fund, Naria Capital. Schmidt co-invested. So that was in 2020. All right. They're literally, and what's interesting about Vance's capital fund is that they were scouting defense and agricultural technical startups, like App Harvest is one. So Vance isn't just a political candidate. The allegation I'm saying is that he's the executive representative of what our researcher is basically calling the Schmidt Thiel Vance industrial complex, and they can use TPUSA to completely run their entire operation under religion and charity.
And that spells doom for all of us because they got your mothers, they got your children, they have everybody, because if they don't catch you in church, they're going to catch your kid in college, they're going to catch your kid in middle school.
Well, sorry to interrupt, just imagine the power of being able to start at so say it's a high school, grade 9, but a lot of high schools are inside of elementary schools across the country. So you've got like K through 12. So what are the laws around that? So you could potentially have, even if it's just starting in 9th grade or 8th grade, you have the ability to capture all of these children, like literally children, all of their physical data, their reaction data. Imagine, like I've said this before recently on the live stream and stuff, is like, imagine being able to gauge these two teenagers on the football field and they got into a fight, how it started, how it ended, what raised to it. They could literally see on the cameras inside of the school classrooms, any activity between the two, passing notes, who else was involved, was there a girl involved, was there 3 girls involved, was there other dudes involved, was the guy alone and 5 dudes jumped in. Like, all of this data becomes the primary source for the system to be built around.
So let me let me get to these super chats. All right, so let's see. Shout out to Laura, new member of your channel. Shout out to Sylvia. Sylvana. Maybe they want us to think it's Charlie Kirk. Shout out to Christopher. Charlie was holding not his babies. He was on it. I don't want to talk about nobody's kids, but it's starting to look like those were not Erika Kirk's birth kids, because with all of this adoption agency stuff, everything that has been going on, it just seems like they were just one of the reasons why, and this is just my opinion because I don't like talking about people's kids, but it has a little bit to do with all of this stuff, because if you're talking about a financial side, and I'm talking about the other side, the Epstein file side. A lot of these people, they're just adopting children to do whatever they want to do with them. And I have no idea what Erika Kirk is doing. And like I said, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole or whatever, but that might not be Erika Kirk's children, because there's no proof or any video of Erika Kirk ever being pregnant. And if they are just running around adopting children, if you guys paid attention to the Sasha Riley files, put a 1 in the chat if you
What is that? I never.
Sasha Riley?
Sasha Riley files.
Oh my God. Okay, hold on. Let me read these super chats and we'll get into that. Oh my God. A guy and his wife adopted Sasha Riley and I think 2 other children and would rent them out to people. Oh, that because see, that's my side. You're the financial side. Oh my
Yeah.
God, this other side. So let me read these and I'll get into that. So Mighty G, put a 1 in the chat if y'all have seen or heard about the Sasha Riley audio. Put a 1 in the chat if you know about that. All right, Biden's investigation was called Arctic Frost Judiciary Committee of Information on that. Has information on that. Oh, hold on, let me put that in my notes. Okay, Arctic Frost. Okay, thank you so much for that. And a new member of your channel, Wicked Shat.
Wicked Smat. Thank you for joining. Yeah. Oh, by the way, my live streams, they all go private after 72 hours. I've been doing a lot of deep diving into stuff that I think this conversation that I've been having about finances and stuff, I just want to put a little bit of a barrier after people get that first 3 days. So it's only 99 cents if you guys want to join. That way you get full access, at least for this topic.
Yeah, 1000%. Okay, so let me play a quick commercial, and then we're gonna get into Sasha Riley, because I'm glad you don't know anything about it, because it's so much. So quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Sweeping the country, and it's a card game called This just in, a new way of healing is sweeping the country, and it's a card game called Like Mother, Like Daughter. This game is powerful.
My favorite question was, if you could parent me all over again, what would you change? This card game has a mother deck and a daughter deck, so we both have questions for each other.
These are some good questions.
Do you think I'm a people pleaser? If so, where did I get this trait from?
This card game actually helped my marriage, and the questions showed me that I still had unresolved issues with my mom, and I was taking them out on my husband.
If you don't do anything else, buy this card game. You won't regret it. Click the link below.
Like mother, like daughter, we are the same. You'll see when we play this game.
For those of you who've been asking about the mother-daughter card game, I got new card games in. They'll be here probably in another 5 days. So click the link in the chat. It's pinned at the top of the chat, or either look under my video and you'll see the link to buy the card game. And we sold out during Christmas. So thank you to all the people that bought card games then, but they are coming back. And if you have not gotten your card game, get the card game. As I got 1,000, so I'm not sure how fast they'll sell out, but make sure to get your card games before they sell out again. All right, so let's get into the Sasha Riley conversation a little bit, because it's so freaking much. All right, so here we go.
Dad, William Kyle Riley, worked as a pilot.
Okay, so just to give you a little backstory, Sasha Riley is a military vet that came out months ago. It was like back in July of last year, and nobody really wanted to listen. But this is kind of like in conjunction with the Epstein files that are coming out. The things that were done to this young man and the things that he did to Donald Trump will blow your mind. But the main point of all of this having to do with the Charlie Kirk situation is, one, let me just say this, is one, it has something to do with Donald Trump, and Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump were besties. So I want all y'all to remember that. Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump were besties. Charlie Kirk went through all of this in order to get Donald Trump elected. And Donald Trump allegedly did this to Sasha Riley. And then the third thing is the adoption side of this. All right. So remember, he was adopted by a man and his wife, and listen to what they did. And then we're not going to stay on this, but I just want to touch on this a little bit.
And your adopted dad, William Kyle Riley, worked as a pilot and was involved.
Yes.
Integrated in
He
the
was
Epstein
involved
Trump
in all kinds of things.
Yeah. And he worked a lot with Trump and Epstein, correct?
I know that he was around Epstein and worked with Epstein. And I want to say that he flew for Epstein. And if not for Epstein directly, like transporting Epstein himself, he did transport some of the rich people to and from these parties that Epstein and company hosted. It wasn't just him. It was kind of a cabal of several people. and Epstein was I guess the lead coordinator, maybe you would call it. But it's much more than just him as an individual. You know, it was people like him, like Trump, other people, and I can't remember, you know, like how many, but he was handy to have around because he was a part of the process, and he isn't just like an airline pilot or something like that. He can fly anything. He can fly helicopters, fixed wing, smaller aircraft, larger aircraft. I mean, he's that pilot, that kind of that multi-purpose guy that could transport whatever you needed.
Okay, so
and I don't know if he ever got into the drugs. I can remember him talking at one point.
This part right here is important. How he did not want to transfer drugs, but he wanted to transport tadpoles.
And he had refused to do a drug run, basically, and somebody else took that drug run, and they got busted.
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of aircraft it was or whatever, and it was around Florida that guy got busted. Maybe he flew down to the Virgin Islands or something like that. I can't remember these specific details, but I can remember the conversation that my dad had talking about, thank God I didn't take that. And because the guy got busted and he wound up, you know, huge amount of charges, 25 to life or whatever the heck he got. But I can remember from his perspective being nervous because the people that he was working with, he was scared that they were going to set him up to take the fall for something, to just get rid of him because he had been involved in so much other criminality that he was really nervous about taking on anything else. That's what he did. He shuttled the people, but I can remember him not wanting to cross the bridge over to running drugs.
Yeah.
You know, because in his mind, if he got caught with some people, he could just play dumb. And I was just transporting this guy's kid to, you know, from the, you know, here to there. I didn't know anything. So
did your dad?
Go ahead.
Did your dad transport the victims most often?
Oh, absolutely.
So more victims than guests. I don't want to call them guests.
I would say more guests than victims,
Okay.
But he definitely transported both.
Okay. Okay. And that was either
So here's
before
the-
Epstein, like wasn't transported.
Than one encounter with Trump. And
So here is his encounter with Trump. Remember, this all has a lot to do with tadpoles, adoption agencies, Donald Trump, Charlie Kirk, and Turning Point USA.
I have had more than one encounter with Trump, and that's why I tried to that son of a bitch, because he is a fucking monster. It's why I have not shut up about just how absolutely abhorrent he is as a human being, and it's why I tried to.
Yeah.
Because I had decided, I had already seen enough other people die that in my mind I thought, well, they're just going to kill me too at some point, right? You know, I'm not going to survive to be an adult from this. So in my mind, he was the biggest pile of shit that I'd ever had to have any contact with. So I was going to take him with me. And
how often did Trump you? You
I can remember two specifically. A third one that I think, and I think I was around him more than just those 3 times, but only 3 times do I kind of remember. I can remember at one point him asking the people that were kind of running that party or whatever it was at that farm. He wanted to kill somebody. He wanted to kill somebody.
What he said was, because I had to bleep it out. It's not even funny, but it's disgustingly sad. But it goes right along with the Epstein files. Donald Trump wanted to, unalive somebody, and it was like, well, that's not what we're doing over here. We're torturing people and not unaliving them.
How did he? How did how did Donald Trump get involved in that? Where did that?
All of this is connected with Epstein. Remember the first video I said the guy was working for Epstein, and he was in charge with transporting people via plane to these torture farms.
Okay.
Whether it's an island or somebody's land.
Okay.
And
Trump wanted to get rid of him because he knew too much, or
no. He just wanted to blank somebody.
Just to do it.
He just wanted to blank somebody. He just wanted, hey, I want to, see.
Want to feel that, see what it's like, or what?
Yeah. Okay. So see, what a lot of these people are doing is they're rich and they'll go to somebody's land, or they'll go to an island, and then on that island you could do anything you want. because there's no laws. So if from a human nature standpoint, we all are nice people, good people, right? But a lot of us have to be nice. A lot of us have to be good because we'll go to prison, right? So some of us, I would say a small fraction of us, if we were able to go to an island and there's nothing that's against the law, and there's certain areas of the island where they're hunting people, whether you're a racist person or you hate this or hate this type person, you can hunt people. Over here, you can do whatever you want to do with, you know, tadpoles, like on some Epstein stuff. And over here, you can unalive somebody by just being like, bah. You're not even hunting, but like they're just in the room. You just go in there, whatever. You can do whatever it is that you want to do. Like fulfill your wildest, disgusting dream. You know, women.
It sounds like hell. Like actually, like the reality of hell.
That's what this guy's adopted, because the adoption thing is the most important thing, because what you're about to hear is the pilot adopted some kids so he can make extra money on the side along with the transportation of the people. If he had his little kids that aren't that heavy, because, you know, they're like 12, 13, because, you know, a small plane is a weight capacity, right? But if you got like 2 kids and then you bring them along with the customers, you're getting paid to fly the people out there. And then you got 2 kids to be like, hey, I got little Johnny over here. Who wants him? Hey, I got little so-and-so over here. Who wants him? And next thing you know, they'll pay him $5,000, $10,000 to rent them out to be able to do whatever with them. And then, you know, as long as you don't unalive the person. So this is Sasha Riley, and he's in the military. He's a real person.
And they said, hey, that's not this kind of party. You can't do that. And
see, that's not this type of party. You can't unalive somebody here. This is a torture place.
In lieu of doing that, they said, well, we've got some puppies that and we've got to get rid of them anyway. So I can remember him taking those puppies one by one. Experience, I guess, seeing them suffer in different ways. What his kink is, I guess, if you want to call it that, is watching people suffer. He likes to destroy people physically, mentally during the process of. That's why he stands out so much in my memory.
Were all of these parties at the farm or similar locations to the farm? Where there was
it was multiple farms.
Multiple farms, and usually it was parties. So there was individuals like Trump that were flown into the parties. And
yes, and they would have like a building, you know, a house, and they would usually have like a tent set up, and you know, it was almost like a little. I don't want to say a fair. It wasn't that big. They didn't have rides or anything, but it was a kind of a coordinated deal.
So to go a little bit, to paraphrase on the rest of it, because I don't want to make the whole thing about Sasha Riley. I did a different video about Sasha Riley, but altogether, there was a situation where he was with his adopted dad, and they were taking a break from all of the ass kicking and all of the sex and all this other stuff, because he would have time to just rest, right? Until the next day or whatever. And it was one time where another a young girl that had nothing to do with them, they can hang around, they can play or whatever. And then the dad was like, well, y'all go do what y'all want to do. Go get you some, son, right? And he's like, yeah, okay. So they went to a barn or somewhere or whatever, and you know, they were, you know, clapping cheeks as
how old is this son?
He was like 1-3, I will say 1-3, 1-4, something like that. So next thing you know, they over there clapping cheeks as, you know, whatever. And next thing you know, somebody comes in a room. I gotta use code words, sorry. So
no, it's just funny. It's funny the way you say.
So next thing you know, somebody comes in a room. It's like, what are y'all in here doing, right? And they the female, right? And they just grabbed and anybody who's seen who heard the audio, y'all know. And they just grabbed the mattress, just pull it out because it's messy or whatever. And next thing you know, they turn around and say, all right, so Trump, well, this guy wants you. They didn't say Trump. This guy wants you. So if you say anything bad to him, we're going to do the same thing to you as we did to her. Next thing you know, Trump comes in and wants the boy to, Peggy Bundy. You know what I mean? Peggy Bundy. You know what Peggy Bundy means, right?
No. I imagine what I think it is, the dead person.
Peggy Bundy. Peggy Bundy.
Yeah,
So,
I get it.
Yeah. So next thing you know, Trump is just laying on his stomach, and this little boy is like, yo, I'm probably going to die anyway, so I'm going to just do whatever I got to do. So next thing you know, he takes something, some type of something, something, I don't know, something landing on, then he puts a condom on it and takes his foot and like, ugh! And then, of course, Donald Trump is like, this is what he said. So they life flight him out. He goes to the hospital. He doesn't die. And this is allegedly the reason why Trump walks the way he walks. And he has a pee bag because it affected his,
I got lost between the Peggy Bundy and the foot with the condom. How did Trump get involved?
Okay.
He's
Trump,
there.
What? Okay. Peggy. Okay. You don't know what Peggy Bundy means. I'm trying to.
I guess not. I thought it was. You can DM it there in the private chat if you.
Okay. I'm trying to not say certain things.
I'm not the goody two-shoe, but I don't know what this is. I don't.
Certain types of men like to be blanked by.
Pegged. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So instead of, I'm trying to use code words. So they're gay, right? Allegedly. So instead of him using his blank, he's seen a stick in the room. So he puts a condom on the stick.
Oh, and then he takes the foot and he
and the stick, goes in the thing, and he's like that. And it puts Trump in the hospital. And they don't kill him because, in their words, boys are harder to find than girls. Maybe I'm assuming this because in my mind, I'm like, a boy, girl is men and women all over the place. Why is it so hard to find a boy compared to a girl? Maybe the size of his, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, girls are girls, but boys, we have different sizes of this, right? So they probably didn't want to kill him because he had this, and the men probably enjoyed him, right? So they couldn't kill him. So they would just torture him. So overall, they call
somebody said Diaper Don.
Yeah, they literally call him Diaper Don, So that is part of this whole conversation. And the thing that I started pontificating, and I wanted to talk to Barron about this, but remember how Candace Owens was talking about every time Charlie Kirk had an event, there was a military plane not that far away. Remember that?
Yes.
Okay. My assumption, because it's just an assumption, but my assumption was, did you see the movie Blink Twice?
I have not.
You have not. Put a 1 in the chat if you've seen the movie Blink Twice. The military planes, possibly, because I don't know. I don't want to get sued or nothing. Possibly, allegedly, whatever word you want to use. The military planes was in order to get the students, if they wanted to fly to island. So after the event, because I think Charlie Kirk has something to do with all this stuff, after his events, they'll rally up about 6-7 students and they'll all fly to an island. And because it's a military plane, they have certain types of clearance where they could just fly straight there with no problem.
I see.
And to a certain degree, looking at Diddy, looking at Epstein, they use Ghislaine Maxwell, and Diddy used Christina Quorum. Some people aren't familiar with Christina Quorum, but your woman that is used to, find girls, right? But with Charlie Kirk, He didn't need a woman to find girls. Turning Point USA found girls because it's just a company that, you know, brings girls to him. And then he allegedly, I don't know, somebody, I'll just say somebody would allegedly, after the shows, would take whoever wants to go, not even against their will. Hey, ladies, y'all want to go to my island? Me and my friends about to hang out to the island. They're like, hell yeah, because they young. They don't know. Next thing you know, they go to the island, allegedly, and then they're now at the island, and they're like, all right, the guys that have paid to be at the island, not Charlie Kirk, but guys, old white men, old black men, old men who can't get this and that. Next thing you know, you got to do whatever with them. And the girl's like, huh? Wait, what are we here for? What are we doing? And now they're at the island getting, you know, blanked left and right by the different people that pay to go to the island. And that is simply a theory. Why the military planes were at each one of Charlie Kirk's events.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I know we've gotten down a lot of different rabbit holes. So this right here is kind of like the smoking gun that gets us to this milestone. I'll play it again for those who didn't see it.
Trump in the office.
Do you know why I cried on election?
Judeo-Christian values are inherent to the country, the Constitution.
Let me tell
up in prison if he didn't have Trump in the office.
Do you know why I cried on election night?
Because you thought it was a restoration of the Judeo-Christian values that are inherent to the country, the Constitution.
Let me tell you why, because I think you might appreciate this as a historian. Joe Biden sent the entire federal government after Turning Point USA and me personally. They wanted me in federal prison. They wanted me in federal prison. They wanted me in federal prison. And by the way, that's what despots do, not Donald Trump. Let me finish. And so when Donald Trump won, it was a sigh of relief that maybe I won't have to go to federal prison. Maybe I can actually be around my kids. And maybe we can live in a free society.
Guys, they just called it. They just called it for Pennsylvania, Charlie. It has been called.
Just called.
Just reporting it. Let's go, baby.
Charlie, what is the number?
White House.
What is the number?
Is that it? Happened. Remember where you were when you realized
you weren't going to prison.
That the Uniparty and all of these, you know, just the establishment.
Just like everyone started dancing.
Just in case we won Pennsylvania. I said I wouldn't even talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen,
Charlie Kirk is officially not going to prison.
We've got tasty cakes.
He is tearing up. He's genuinely relieved. Erika comes in to hug him. He's crying. She's crying. We all thought at first that this was all because he worked so hard. He campaigned for Trump harder than anyone. And we thought he was just happy that all this work didn't go to waste. But now that we know, in his words, he was relieved he didn't have to go to federal prison, it looks very different. Because this reaction tells me that he genuinely thought he would be locked up, that he will not see his family. But why was he so sure that he would end up in prison? That was.
So just to bring us back. So my question to you earlier was, because I just want you to just help me understand this. Do you think the federal investigation started after Charlie Kirk started advocating for Donald Trump, or the federal investigation started before he started advocating for Donald Trump? Because do we have a date in which this federal investigation started? Somebody in the chat said it's called Arctic Frost. So I'm going to do more investigation after the show. What do you think? Someone said it started in 2018.
I think it was. So whenever, I think, what year was it that, I'm pretty sure that once you open up the can of worms with Rally Forge and Jake Hoffman and Tyler Boyer, you have to look into the entire company, you see? So I'm pretty sure that it would be in or around or before that same time frame. So whether, you know, the fact is that what happened with Jake Hoffman and Tyler Boyer is the fact that do you know exactly what they did and why they keep saying the fake elector and the fraud and all that? Do you know what they did?
The vote harvesting.
Yeah, that, and also basically they lied and said Trump won. This is what I've known to be true, is that they lied that Trump won the votes in Arizona, and they represented Jake Hoffman as like the elector of, like, there's 11 or 12 electors that are part of like the votes and all of this stuff. I don't know how it all works because I'm newer to politics, but essentially they said that Trump won. We are the electors, like we're part of this whole organization now, and Trump won the vote. And then I guess they found out that it was all a lie. So they committed fraud to try to put Trump as the lead there. Instead, I guess Biden won. There's still people say to me, even in my comments, like, Trump did win and they stole it from him. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, from what they're saying, if they had proof, don't you think Trump would have pulled out the proof by now that they stole the election from him? Like, you can say whatever you want, but at the end of the day, Trump would have already, it's been a year, guys. Trump would have put people in prison for rigging elections if he had actually proof, you know? So a lot of what Trump says is about carving the narrative and putting things in his favor, whether it's making them feel sorry for him or feeling like his voters got gypped. At the end of the day, and I know you're talking about when Charlie Kirk was investigated, but you have the entire organization under a watchful eye because his team and his independent contractors were completely indicted. Right? Yeah. Tyler Boyer, Jake Hoffman. So they're going to naturally look into everybody surrounding them to see how deep does it go. Was Charlie Kirk involved in that? Maybe that's also something that I haven't touched on. That could be, right? He might have third party or even first party with TPUSA been a part of this fake elector scheme with Jake Hoffman and Tyler Boyer. So he also might have been on the radar, but when it comes to a CEO of Turning Point USA, of a charity, of a nonprofit, you probably would have to dot your I's and cross your T's a lot more finely than just Tyler Boyer and Jake Hoffman misrepresenting themselves. But then again, Jake Hoffman's a senator, right? So you'd have to be very careful there too. It's a very messy thing. But Charlie Kirk, the thing is, Charlie Kirk does a lot more for politics in general. Good, like Democratic or conservative, because Democratic or Republican, because of the fact that he's just capable of bringing so much awareness to politics in general. So you don't want to, I would imagine if I was in the FBI's shoes, you wouldn't want to arrest somebody and put them in prison unless it was so detrimental, right? Because then you take away the apparatus that raises awareness of politics when kids in college just want to smoke weed and, you know, Peggy Bundy.
Yeah.
So like, no, I'm just, you know, and clap cheeks. So it's like, what better person? You don't want to take that guy away, you know. So let's, you know, but the Dems probably have something ready to go when they're ready to take office, you know. That's what I think.
And let me play this real quick, having to do with Tyler Boyer. Shout out to Candace.
Person who I do not trust at all for many reasons, because he's also been indicted for crimes by the state of Arizona, federal crimes for which he was recently pardoned by President Donald Trump. I think it's fair to assume that a person who commits crimes in the past might commit crimes in the future, or I guess allegedly committed crimes. I think those court cases are still moving through. I think that's a perfectly logical assumption that a person who's involved in doing the wrong thing might keep it up. A person that seems motivated by money, a person who factually was in debt and was having his payments garnished at Turning Point USA, who then blinks and becomes a millionaire working for a charity, might be a little bit shady. I think Tyler Boyer, it is a logical conclusion that he is at best a very shady character. I'm going to stand by that. 10 toes down. Now, because I was hyper-fixed on Tyler Boyer, I decided to ask Erika in person during our sit-down how she met Tyler. It was actually, I had 3 questions when I went in there that I wanted to get the answer to. That was actually my number 1 question, because I don't know much about the story of how Tyler met Charlie Kirk. And I now desperately wish that I remember, I could remember what Charlie told me about that. How did they get linked up? And I felt that me asking Erika that question, she might be able to provide a lot of insights to who Tyler Boyer was during the time he was with Charlie Kirk, why, maybe even before he was with Charlie Kirk, and why he got involved with Charlie Kirk. And of course, as we know, Erika knew Tyler for years before her and Charlie began dating, right? Both she and Tyler had been honest about that fact, particularly citing Trump's 2015 presidential rally as an event where the two of them attended together, right?
So she gives some dates and along with talking about Tyler Boyer, right? So some people were saying the investigation started in 2018. Does that give you any more understanding on what's going on, or it keeps you the same place? As far as when the investigation really started and why?
I mean, look, they've been in politics since, I mean, Turning Point USA has been since what, 2016? And ever since then, Trump was in office, was elected in 2016, right? Isn't that the first year? So, I mean, from then on, that's what they've been doing. So it doesn't change anything for me.
Yeah.
If think about it, like that he was plucked, right? And I would like to know actually if Bill Montgomery has ties to Donald Trump. That'd be very interesting to find out.
I'm not gonna say, well, I wish he didn't die, because I think Bill Montgomery holds the key to literally everything, because he's the first assumed person to discover Charlie Kirk. But according to Candace, he was always in some type of way groomed to be this particular person he is now. So that means he wasn't discovered. He was just handed off to another handler. So yeah, but since he passed away, nobody's ever really going to understand or know what his actual work was involving Charlie Kirk in particular. So let's see, Savannah, maybe they want us to think it's Charlie Kirk. So y'all don't think Charlie Kirk had anything to do with this? Let's see. Ann says, make me relieved I do not have kids in school any longer. This is so much to take in and process, just flooring. Exactly. That's the scary thing about it, is they're after our kids. Shout out to Pitsy. This on your channel. If Erika isn't a real mom, that would mean that Charlie was in on it. And that's what I'm saying. And the whole time, which would destroy his legacy, a crushing blow to Turning Point USA. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think those are Charlie Kirk's kids or Erika Kirk's kids. Botox fund to fix your face.
That's she's talking about that's Malloy. I think it's a she said your face while listening to the Sasha Riley. She said fix your face, thanks.
Oh,
because I was just like, whoa, what is going on here? So
yeah, so that's why Charlie Kirk stressed women getting married before 30. So yeah, this is I would say altogether, this is the beginning of a new milestone that we have, to a certain degree, solved the Charlie Kirk case, because of course Tyler Robinson is still in jail. Of course, all these other things are still going on. Of course, we're still trying to figure out where to go from here. But altogether, we now know why Charlie Kirk was killed, because like I said earlier, and a lot of other people said earlier, because I don't want to take the credit for anything, because who cares, right? But from day one, I said Charlie Kirk died, or either didn't die, whatever you want to call it, because I don't want to say the faking thing. whether he died or not, because some of y'all don't think he's, dead, is cool with y'all. But I said from day one, Charlie Kirk died in order to avoid litigation and avoid going to prison. Why he was going to go to prison, between what you're saying and what I'm saying, I think.
Well, I don't think that him dying. I don't think that him dying changes them going to prison, though. Whether I think that I don't think.
So
that
why did he die then?
I think that his death is unrelated to all of that.
Okay, so why do you think he died? Whether they killed him or whatever, why do you think he died? If that's the case, because in my opinion, he died in order to avoid going to prison or taking Turning Point USA down with him, kind of like with Diddy. So with you're saying that is not going to stop them from going to prison. So if that's
no,
the case,
because they already had he was sweating to the point of going to prison. They already have a case. Him dying doesn't matter because they've already got a case.
The question is, in your opinion, why did whoever that did it, why did he die? Why did they kill him if that's the case?
I don't know. I don't know. I still haven't figured it out. The best I can come up with is that he was the final piece of the puzzle to get the intelligence system built in place, and maybe he wasn't cooperating as they needed him to, possibly, or he's not.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So he may not be,
because like when I say he wasn't cooperating potentially, maybe he was going to blow the whistle on something completely different, which is the artificial intelligence drone digital signature full United States government tracking system. And maybe that wasn't resting right with him. I'm pretty sure I'm over the target with Project Constitution, because there's too many of these pieces. And then when you look at someone like Scott Bessent, who worked with George Soros for 25 years plus, who was a part of the falling of the yen, the Thailand currency, the UK Black Wednesday financial disruption. When you're working with such a savage like George Soros, you have no regard for human suffering, right? So there could be multiple people that are in that apparatus or atmosphere or system that Charlie was surrounded by. And these people are, I think it would be psychopathic, right? Where you have you can kill somebody and go have lunch like within the same hour, and be fine and have a conversation, right? Like they're trying to peg Tyler Robinson as, no pun intended. But the thing is, we are, you're going to be, there's no way you have to, and I'm glad Jesse on Fire, he told me, he's like, besides all of this, let's never take our eye off the fact that they've never shown anybody take a shot. Nobody's seen anybody take a shot. We've never seen a firearm. And I'm sorry, but a 30-06 that runs, 70 to like 64 inches or whatever, even broken in half, is not going to flop around in a towel. And all of this footage, and you're talking about all these vehicles that were in the parking lot when the guy jumps off of the roof. You've got all these other, and also the camera following him. Like, why do you think that
AI.
is?
All that was AI, because
you think the whole footage is AI?
If the camera is following him, then the camera would have followed him over there, because it wasn't that far from where he was running. So that was the AI. The camera would have followed him, would have seen him on the ground, like laying on the ground, getting off the shot. But of course, my theory is the air actuated pellet discharger, or either an exploding mic, or whatever you want to call it, and some type of apparatus under his shirt that killed him.
What do you think about Barron's electrocution theory? With that, I think it's everything, but that is like a fail-safe.
Due to the theory that a lot of the evidence that we had, like from pictures, not video, but mainly pictures of it has been proven, and I don't want to bring this up on who said what, because I don't know if they want me to bring that back up, because there's a lot of speculation going around about the pictures being doctored. So with the pictures being doctored, it may look like he was electrocuted, but if the pictures were doctored, we can't really say if he was electrocuted or not, because if it looked like there are burn marks on his hands or on his arms or whatever, but the pictures were doctored to make it look like that, that's a thought. But if the pictures were doctored, we can't really tell if he was electrocuted, because the burn marks may have been doctored where it looks like it's burn marks. But yeah, that's definitely a theory, him being electrocuted, because the way he, fell over, he could easily been electrocuted. I agree.
My camera died. I didn't charge it enough. So it's all good. I got some work to do anyway, but no, I mean, as far as all this, man, I try to say, like, look, what I can I like to be able to prove the facts, right? And the fact is, they're up to some funny business with the money, but that now has gone much further for me, because we're seeing all of this AI, all of these paperwork for everything I explained. And I think that this conversation has to be opened up and go deeper, because everyone's been searching in all these different directions, and we've finally been able to put a whole picture together. It's like, finally, we've got a whole puzzle with 1 million pieces, and we're missing maybe 50,000 pieces, but the rest of the puzzle is there. So you can see what the picture looks like now. So, just so you know, everyone, I think I'm going to go live after Barron tonight. I was going to go live after this, but my camera's dead, so I need to charge it. I got some work to do. So later tonight after Barron, maybe in the evening, 7 p.m. my time, PST. If you want to do a late night stream or join or whatever, you're more than welcome to stop in as well.
1,000%. 1,000%. So, all right. So thank you for being here, and make sure everybody that is on my channel, make sure you follow Danks.
It's the same. Dankster Intel.
Dankster Intel. So shout out to my guy Danks. He is part of the Scooby-Doo group. We have been talking for maybe 3 months. So yeah, shout out to you. You are good people, and thank you for coming on here.
Appreciate you, bro. Absolutely, anytime. Take care, y'all. Thanks, and we'll see y'all soon. See you later tonight. All right.
Talk to you later.
Later.
So that is two sides of the same theory. And that's the reason why I wanted Danks to be on here, because he's very, very, very affluent on the financial side of this situation. So we're probably going to do another live stream this evening. And but shout out to everybody else that has been looking into this, because it's not just the Barons, the Ians, the Candaces, it's you. There's a lot of you who have been watching this and has been investigating this and have been sharing information with other people or doing your own YouTube videos. So I want to just say thank you to y'all, because it means a lot to all of us with the information that y'all are offering. So I'm going to do some more diving on this, deep diving on the Arctic Frost investigation about Charlie Kirk. But I just wanted to come on here and really celebrate that we are really getting close. And y'all are saying that somebody faked their death, and I agree with you. But being on YouTube, I can't say it, because YouTube would literally try to take my video down, because in YouTube's rules, one of the rules, because I actually had a video that got taken down, and altogether YouTube explained to me that you cannot take away someone's victimization. So I'm agreeing with the people that are saying somebody faked their death, but I agree with you. I just can't necessarily say it on YouTube because it goes against YouTube's terms and conditions. So I will talk to y'all later, and I'm going to do another live stream this evening. So make sure to subscribe to my channel if you have not, and also subscribe to Dankster Intel's channel also. And before I go, do y'all have any questions? Because somebody had some questions. I want to make sure y'all get y'all questions answered. Let me see. I'm going to drop the link. I'm going to drop the link if anybody wants to come up. So I'm dropping the link if anybody wants to come up, because I've said everything that I want to say. But let's see. I'm going to see what y'all have to say. All right, this huge happened in front of the world, and anybody cried any real freaking tears? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Nobody cried real tears because he may not even be dead.
Charlie Kirk saying, church, it's supposed to be government structure. Wait a minute. Jesus said he's coming to build a government structure, so a government with tanks and bombs and guns can convert the world to force them to believe. That goes against the concept of the gospel.
Yes.
Jesus is a gentleman. He never forced anybody to trust him. He said, if I be lifted.
All right. So what Pastor Fannin is saying is that Charlie Kirk is a liar and he was leading people the wrong way, just to give y'all context.
Up, I will draw all men unto me. Salvation is freely available to all that believe. That's his promise. But it's your choice. You got to choose to trust Christ, or you're still trusting in yourself or your works or how much you've turned from or how much good you do. And you're not really saved. You're trying to obtain it by works. We do need fellowship. And unfortunately, we can't really find that in a lot of the organized church structures. Now, I know of preachers all around in different areas, and I'm finding more. And Charlie Kirk's organization was not about the gospel. In fact, his gospel is totally fake. Every time he said something about the gospel, he was like, give your life to Christ. Well, I thought he gave his life for me. Or
exactly.
Or repent of your sins. Okay, so what do I have to do to be saved, turn from sin? I thought Jesus paid for my sin.
Mm-hmm.
It says, what must I do to be saved? And they said, believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and thou shalt be saved. That's Acts 16. It couldn't be any clearer. John 3:16. Whosoever, that's everybody, believeth in him. That's put your trust, shall not perish, but have everlasting life. That lasts forever. However, in the Bible, it clearly warns about the Jews' religion, Judaism. Judaism is a religion that is anti-Christ, and you have Christians today waving their flag, the six-pointed star of Satan. The Bible itself, in the book of Amos and the book of Acts, literally call it the star of Moloch, Remphan, Chian. These are false gods. They're literally devils. Yeah. It is a hex. In magic and witchcraft, it's called a hexagram. They want to put a hex on you. It's one of the highest forms of symbols. You know about the pentagram that the Satanists use? Well, the Luciferians use a hexagram. They want to put that spell on you, the hexagram. The religion of Judaism today is based on the Babylonian Talmud. It literally came out of Babylon. It's witchcraft, it's magic, it's child sacrifice, drinking blood.
And I want to say the Talmud is the Bible or the doctrine that IHOP utilizes. I just want to just point that out. All of this IHOP talk, the IHOPians, and for everybody who doesn't know about IHOP, that's not the restaurant, that's the International House of PDF Files. And I want to play this right here because this guy talked about IHOP, and as you listen to him, I want you to just think about the Talmud.
He's coming back.
And this is Jack Hibbs, and Jack Hibbs is one of the leaders or founders or backers of Turning Point USA. Frank Turek, Rob McCoy. Just keep in mind, this is the leader of Rob McCoy and them. Listen.
God came to this world as a Jew. He's coming back as a resurrected man, Jesus Christ, not only the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, but he's Jesus Christ, King of the Jews. His throne will be in Jerusalem, the Jewish capital, in the nation of Israel, the Jewish state. And he will sit upon the throne of David, an amazing Jewish musician and warrior and king. If your church is not pro-Israel, it's not a church. If your church is not pro-Israel and pro-reaching the Jewish people with the love of God, you're not in a New Testament church. You're actually attending a fraud.
It's fraudulent. Get up, get out. Chosen people? Without a doubt. God said they are. Is his covenant will eternal? Yep, he said so. We need to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. God says to do that. God says that the Christian is to provoke the Jew to jealousy by our love for them and for God. Did you know that? When Christ returns, he's going to ask, what did you do to me when I was hungry and thirsty?
So there's a lot of half-truths in what he says.
That's what they do.
Right? Right. Was Jesus Jewish? Well, it says he would not walk in Jewry anymore. It says he was put to death, and I'm sorry, I know you're trying not to use the word, by Judaism. He said he wouldn't walk in Judaism. He was put to death by Judaism. That's in the Bible. Okay. Who say they are Judaism, but they're not. They're of the synagogue of Satan. How about Romans chapter 2? He says, who is one? The one that's circumcised in the heart. Now he's pulling all the way back to the Old Testament in Deuteronomy when he says, yeah, the picture of what you did on your foreskin, that's what you're supposed to do on your heart.
They painted their images into the truth. That is a fact. That is a fact. So I'm going to post that video right there. If you have not seen it, I'm going to post it probably when I get off here, and y'all can watch the whole video. But we're very close to solving this whole Charlie Kirk case. It's not over, but we hit a milestone 1000%. Because now that we are all aware that Charlie Kirk, for whatever reason, was about to go to prison if Trump did not get elected, that is motive for him to get himself out of here, whether it was by ritual or it was by faking this whole thing. So with all that being said, I'm going to play the Scooby-Doo song because this is a celebration, and then we're going to get up out of here.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, looking for the clues. Hit the like button if you part of the crew. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, looking for the clues. Hit the like button if you part of the crew. Yeah, black or white, red or blue. We all stuck together like gorilla super glue. Yo, Scooby-Dooby-Doo, looking for the clues. Hit the like button if you part of the crew. Hit the like button, and tell me where you from. Hit the like button, and tell me where you from. Hit the like button, and tell me where you from. Hit the like button, button. Hit the like button, and tell me where you from. Hit the like button, and tell me where you from. Hit the like button, and tell me where you from. Hit the like button if you part of the crew. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, looking for the clues. Hit the like button if you part of the crew. Yo, black or white, red or blue. We all stuck together like gorilla super glue.
Of healing is sweeping the country, and it's a card game called Like Mother, Like Daughter. This game is powerful.
My favorite question was, if you could parent me all over again, what would you change? This card game has a mother deck and a daughter deck, so we both have questions for each other.
These are some good questions.
Do you think I'm a people pleaser? If so, where did I get this trait from?
This card game actually helped my marriage, and the questions showed me that I still had unresolved issues with my mom, and I was taking them out on my husband.
If you don't do anything else, buy this card game. You won't regret it. Click the link below.
Like mother, like daughter, we are the same. You'll see when we play this game.
All right, y'all. I might be going live another time later on this evening with Danks or with Allie. So make sure to hit the like button. And on top of that, if you have not bought your mother-daughter card game, make sure to click the link under this video or in the chat or in the comment section. I'm going to pin the link in the comment section also. So get your mother-daughter card game, and I'll talk to y'all later.